Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, if we write file input stream statements in the try block, then what are the statements that we have to write in the finally block? Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. First of all, the straightforward answer for this question is, in the finally block, we have to close the object of the file input stream. Okay, if we have created this file input stream object by writing this file input stream statement in the try block, then where we have to close the object of this file input stream to stop it from the memory leak and all, we have to close the object in the finally block. Why we have to close the object of the file input stream in the finally block? What is the purpose? Only why in finally block? Can't I close in the try block? The reason here is whether an exception comes or doesn't come in the try block. Okay, whether the exception comes with this particular statement, that is file input stream, or any other statements. Okay, in the try block, after the object of the file input stream got created here in the try block, if an exception comes, okay, so in that case, the object will not be closed if you try to close in the same try block, because the remaining statements in the try block will be skipped. The control will go to the catch block. So whether the exception comes, whether the exception doesn't come, we have to, at any cost, close the object of the file input stream. That code for closing the object of the file input stream class will be written in the finally block. Okay, whether the try block gets executed when the exception doesn't come, or whether the catch block gets executed when the exception actually comes. Okay, in either of these cases, finally block will be mandatorily get executed, no matter whether try or catch block get executed. Okay, hence closing the object of the file input stream, and the finally block is used for many other purposes, not only for the file input stream, guys. If you want to close any database connection or any object you want to close, any memory leak you want to get stopped from, okay, all such kind of activities you can do in the finally block, because that gets executed irrespective of whether the exception occurs in the try block or whether the catch block gets executed or not. Okay, so in order to close the object of the file input stream in the finally block, we have to use this close. We have to use this close method. Okay, with practical demonstration, I'm going to demonstrate or explain the answer for this question for you right now. For that, I'll switch to the Eclipse IDE, guys. I'll just close this previous class. And here, do we have any class for exception handling mechanism? Yes, I have a class. I'll create our sub package here for just for separation purpose. I'll say 4 here, .4, and the package will be created. Under the package, I'm going to create a class. I'll just name this class as a demo class, let's say. You can give any name. With main method, I'm going to create. With main method, I'm going to create this. And inside this main method, I'm going to write down, okay, something like this. That is, file. I'm going to create an object for the file input stream, guys. Okay, file input stream FIS is equal to new file input stream. Like this. This file input stream can be used for reading the text from the text files, etc. Control Shift O. Okay, the constructor cannot be empty. Here we have to pass the location of the file from where we want to read the text from. So here I'll give new file in double quotes. I'll provide the, in double quotes, I'll give the, before double quotes, Control Shift O, this file class will be imported from java.io package. And in this new file, I'm going to give the path of the file, guys. Okay, let me give the path of the file. Any text file you can give the path, guys. That's okay. I'll go to one of the location in my machine where I have this particular files available. I'll go to the downloads and some folder location, or I'll copy paste that into my project. That's also is fine. Easiest way is to copy paste, guys. Okay, just let me find out that folders once. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'll just copy one of the file. So here arun.txt file is there. I'll copy this particular text file here. Any file, any sample file you can create from the project also. Like for example, if you want to create directly instead of copy pasting, right click here and say new file, and just name this as, for example, my last name moturi.txt is the extension of the file. Finish. The text file will be created. My name is Moturi. I'll type just for sample. You don't need to type this, but I'm just typing just for sample needs. Okay, so like this, I'll create a text file having some text. That's okay. And here I need to give the path of the file. This particular file is directly under the project. So I'll directly give moturi.txt, which is nothing but directly under the project. Hold the mouse on this, and you can implement the try catch block here. You have to surround this with try catch block. Okay, or if you want to do it manually, you can do that, guys. Okay. What was the exception that is coming? There's a possibility of file not found exception that you are writing here. Put the try block here. And if you want to do it manually, type it manually. I can show you manually also. Here catch block, and what is the exception? Control B. Exception is not coming. File not found exception, right? File not found exception. And say E, and here system.out.println E. Over the mouse on this, import the file not found exception. Okay, import the file not found exception and save this. Save this case. Okay, once you save this, you see whether the exception comes here or not. My purpose is to the value of the local variable is not used. Okay, I'd like to use this, guys. Okay, I'd like to use this. Okay, fis dot just try to use it. Try to fis dot read or something you mention. Okay, here there's a possibility of IO exception. In place of file not found exception, you write IO exception, because IO exception mostly will be the parent of the file not found exception, IO exception, and import that. See, you see issue is gone. It's able to tackle up all the exceptions. It's a parent exception class of the file not found exception anyhow. And here I'm using the FIS. Now over the mouse on this FIS and see that resource leak FIS never closed. Where I have to close this FIS? For example, here or here, if the exception comes, if I close it here, okay, if I close the object of the file input stream here, for example, the warning message is going off, that memory leak warning message is going on off. But when you run the code, what is going to happen? When you run the code, what is going to happen? If this particular line is giving an exception like IO exception or file not found exception, the control will directly come to the catch block. And because of which, okay, whatever the reason may be, guys, okay, after creating this particular object, for example, here some exception is coming. Int a is equal to 5 divided by 0. Okay, intentionally I'm giving this line here. So after you create an object for the file input stream, if you are getting an exception here, if you try to divide a number by 0, which exception you will get? Arithmetic exception you will get. Here I'll just change it to exception here, so it can tackle all the type of exceptions. Okay. Here, if you get an arithmetic exception, control will go to the catch block and the details of the exception will be printed here. Okay. And will this particular file input stream object will be closed? The answer is no. The object will not be closed, guys. The reason behind that is the object will not be closed. The reason behind that is because of the exception that is coming in this 14th line, arithmetic exception coming, right? You catch block it came, and because of the FIS dot close. What if I put this FIS dot close? What if here the statements are like this? In this case, what will happen? The exception will not come because you are trying to divide a number by 1. It will not give you an exception. In that case, we will not be able to go to the catch block and close this. This statement will not be executed. This statement will not be executed. So there's a problem by putting the FIS dot close here, and also not only in the try block but also in the catch block. What I have to do here? Here at the end of the catch block, you finally block. Whether the exception comes or not doesn't matter. You can close the object here. Okay. You can close the file input stream here, irrespective of whether an exception comes in the try block or catch block, because we don't know whether the exception will come or not, for example. Okay. And here FIS cannot be resolved because it's local. This particular object reference is created directly inside the try block. This FIS is local to the try block. Hence, have to take it outside the try block and remove the double declaration here. And then over the mouse, it's asking you to surround with try catch blocks again. Surround with try catch blocks, guys. That's okay. This is the code we have to write, guys. In the finally block, okay. In the finally block, we have to close like this. Over the mouse, it will ask you to initialize a variable because FIS is a object reference of a class. We have to initialize that with null. Then the issue will be gone. Okay. This is how we have to write the code, guys. Okay. This is how we have to write the code. And generally in the finally block, we will tend to close the object reference of the different classes where memory leak generally happen, or it's a good practice to close objects of some classes after using them or utilizing them to reduce to stop the memory leak happening. And so the straightforward answer for this question is closing the object of the file input stream. This is a code. If the interviewer asks you pretty clear and close, if you want to explain, also mention this try catch block, IO exception, and all those stuff, and surround this FIS dot close with try catch block in the finally block. Okay. So this way of writing the code, right, will make the interviewer get satisfied. Okay. So if you want to take a screenshot of this code, guys, you can take a screenshot of this code and practice in your machine. So with the theoretical explanation and practical demonstration, I've answered this question for you in this session. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye-bye.